Hi everyone, good evening. Today is November 28th. Sorry for a late night recap video, a lot of things going on. Um, so beautiful day guys, it was beautiful day. Most of the profit today was made in first 1 or 2 hours. So as usual, let's kick off our daily recap and teachings videos. I'm going to talk more about one setup that we nailed today, the best setup that we made money on. I will talk about that setup more in detail. But before I do that, let's start with the introduction. How do we do things? So every morning, I'm up 45 minutes before the market open. I go through all my news sources. I have a bunch of my news sources in my community. I go through them. I go through the wake up summaries as you see here. Then we look at some more news sources and more news sources to figure out the gap ups, the gap downs, what is gapping up, what is gapping down, what's the news behind it, what's the pre-market volume. So I look at all those stocks before I make my final list. If you want to learn more about how to get ready, you should join my community and watch my daily routine webinar where I explain all this in very detail. So anyways, this was our watch list guys this morning. One second. So this was our watch list today guys. PDD, ZS and CROX, all these top 3 on the watch list which I played and which made us good profits today. There was a bunch of other names on the watch list. AFRM was, the community was playing it. It was also my chart idea on Twitter that's been working good today. Coin was also a good one. I was bullish on it, and I also talked about how it can keep going. So Coin, AFRM were other 2 notables. We can talk about them a little, and then we'll discuss PDD, ZS and CROX, the repeatable setups. I'll talk about my Tesla loss in the morning and how it turned bullish later in the day, and then we'll discuss how we were short NVDA only a short in the morning, that it was a short scalp, and then after that we'll discuss SPY and QQQ, how it was range bound first half an hour, 45 minutes, then it gave us a big huge breakout where everything started to push and rally. So we'll discuss all that guys. Before I do that, there's we made every morning I make those levels and the plan for SPY, QQQ, IWM, Apple. These are the market plays which we call as marketplace, right? You can see how the Tesla, my support was 235.72, and then it was breakout pivots, and we have a plan. We get into a day with the plan, with our levels. You can take a screenshot and then go back and see how these levels played out. If support pivot breaks, it's under the cloud, it's a short. If resistance pivot breaks to upside, it's a long, and if it rejects those, then we can short them. So these levels always works for us pretty good, and we make them every day. So just want to show that. Let's go now to our trades for the day guys. Let's start. So let's start with our main play of the day, Zscaler, right? So Zscaler was a gapping down. It was gapping down, it was a gap down, and it was bearish, right? Usually what do I look for a bearish gap down? I want to see the 2 things can happen. Either we can recover and gap fill back up, or we can break the pre-market lows and we can further break down. But in this case, and also yes, we look at some other things. I did share on Twitter, I shared about how the price upgrades were coming in. So there was some fundamental bullishness there, right? But we do not get blinded by that fundamental bullishness. It helps our trade. The first is price action. What is price action telling us? Is price action telling us it wants to bounce? If yes, then yes, those convictions, those fundamental convictions help us with that. So that was the plan today. As you can read here, my plan, I was neutral for a bounce. I clearly had a bias for the bounce versus 178, 181, 180, depending where the price opens. Because you can see the Ripster clouds were reclaimed. It was not trading here. It was trading over the Ripster EMA cloud right here. And as soon as it started to push over EMA clouds, I was long. That's when I said scalp long versus 181. So we longed it, it pushed initially, then it pulled back. Then it pulled back and my stops were 181 or 182 based upon your entry. When it dipped back, I said add on this dip half size more. So we already added at the open. It pushed nicely at the open if you were just scalping the opening trade, but I had a defined risk. I saw the price holding higher lows. That's why I told everybody to add on this dip, and you add it, and then we, that the trade work. Then it goes to the gap fill. You see my Fibonacci's that I discussed in my technical trading webinars. So we see 61 Fibonacci is reclaimed. It pushes the target. You scale out initially. You scale out, half size, and then you watch. It's still holding the 512 EMA Clouds. It's still holding that 512 EMA Clouds. Then it's flagging. It's flagging. Then breaks the flag. You add more on the flag breakout, or you hold your current position, and we got the complete gap fill. Look here. 188.50, 188.50 was my first target. We met the target. We logged initial profit, and then we kept rest of it, right? And as I said, we might make a next leg, hold for a bit, and boom, and there was the next leg, right? And I did say some more things. I was talking about I said keep lotos, because if we get over the gap, if we can push more, and it did push more, right? I did push more, and it still held the 512 EMA cloud. So it came all the way from 183s to 193s, $10 per share profit, right? So you scale on the way. And I finally, when it broke 512 EMA clouds, I had a choice. Either I keep a small size or lock all my position. I decided to lock all my position, and that's fine. Because we were day trading. It never was a plan to swing it, but it ideally it kind of is going to be a good swing the way it held today. So tomorrow again we watch for further push over 195s. So you see how it. So look at this EMA cloud, beautiful trend all day, right? All day. That was my signal to get out, because I have to follow my system. Yes, it held. It did not pull back fully, and then it just pushed. That's fine. We are done with it. We made our money. Although if somebody wanted to trade it again, they could have used this as a risk to trade it, right? Your risk was here. Even if you held with 3450 clouds, you can use that risk to hold it, and then it still can rally. So you see how, and it's a repeatable setup. We do it every day. It's a gap fill reversal setup. We do it every day, and again I show you guys these setups. These are repeatable setups, defined setups, and my system tells me I don't everything is defined by system, the parameters, the variables that define day in day out. It's a game of probability. It's not a game of prediction. It's a game of probability. Statics or probability of the setup working before, and our system telling us, right? Our system told us we're bullish, we just follow the system. We did not blindly long or short it, right? If it was under the EMA clouds, our system would have told us, I just didn't read the upgrades and went long. That's not how I do it, right? If I want to stay in the game long, make it repeatable for whole rest of my life, that's how I want to do it. And that's how we get our good wins. So guys, yes, really wanted to spend some time on this gap fill setups, learn this setup. You don't get this opportunity many times. Most of the times the gap only fills half, and you never really get this full gap fill. The market helps us. You see that when market broke out right here, which we will discuss in a bit, that helped us with this trade, guys. So master it, ask me, and I'll post more examples of this one. You should have it on my Twitter feed. All right, guys, let's move to the next one. I just want to talk about Tesla today. So what did Tesla do, right? So we see this big, huge move, right? So I was initially long on Tesla in the morning. I was long, right? So I was long, and I was trying to trade this breakout. So I was long at open. I was trying to trade this breakout. My risk was 235s. This was a wider risk. So I was long it failed to break out, pulled back, and when it broke my pre-market levels, I got out. I stopped out. I followed my system. That was fine. And I did scalp a little bit short as well. You can see I was, the breakout was for Friday highs. So that was the plan, right? So that was the plan. What was the Friday highs? So you can see the breakout was Friday highs. So this was the planned, plan to long over breakout highs, and then we got the amateur move, the first move and 10 a.m. move, and then after 10 a.m. it held a certain level. So that's a very important concept to learn, that once it holds a certain level, it can get back. So the opening loss, we tried to long it, did not work. I stopped out. I did not touch it that time, right? I did scalp it later when it was breaking out. Let me show you. So risk level was 235, right? So I closed my longs, and then I scalped some short, and then I saw it bouncing, but I avoided it. I got out of it because my other trades were working much better. Zscaler and all those were working much better, and then I had stepped away, and I had some price alerts on Tesla. So later in the day, let's look at it. Yeah, so I did not have the price alerts, but what I want you guys to see is, you see this 512 EMA reclaim right here turned bullish, right? So that's when you get back long and you use the same stops that I gave in the morning, 235s. Then you hold it for the next leg, and the breakout that I was talking in the morning, it came again. Here's your breakout, the one that I was originally wanted to do, take it, right? So, and then Tesla pushed to 242s. I missed that move. I did miss the original move, but then it was flagging here. It was holding the trend. But I'm proud of everyone. Everybody was on top of Tesla. They were trading it. They were taking Tesla long all day, and there was a flow on the scans all day. There was flow on the scans. It's crazy, and good guidance by Yash and all the other community members. I'm really proud of that. But when I saw this holding this trend, that's when I traded it into the close, because nothing is too high or too low, right? So you see that there's a consolidation breakout still holding the trend, and my target was 248, right? And we did meet 248 by end of the day. So even if you traded at 242s on this flag breakout, you still got a $6 move, and you got nice push, right? You got a nice push into your targets. It's still a $6 trade there, for me. And then next level was 246. In the end of the day, it was all about this 246 level. It's never really broke the trend, the 512 EMA cloud trend, and the call flow was crazy. Now we watch it again tomorrow for the 250 break. So my point is, it's okay to take a loss, but it's not okay to not get back, right? There's a catalyst on the Cybertruck. I did tweet about what the analysts were saying. So there was some kind of fundamental thing too, but this area was the kind of support zone, right? But these wicks, this action was one which really kind of shook some longs off, and that was fine. We were in the bearish clouds right here, so we stopped out. That's fine. But when you see this candle going, that's when you get long every time when you see this reversal. Look at the difference from this time to this time. And what did I say in my morning level sheet? That it has been consolidating for long time, right? You see what I said here? Sideways for few days. That means there's a consolidation for few days, right? So alright guys, just wanted to recap Tesla. Good job everyone today on Tesla. So before I move into the next one, just wanted to show you how this Friday consolidation, the initial breakout we were wanting to see in the morning, that came later in the day. So that was a perfect A+ setup here. So let's look at NVDA in the morning, right? So NVDA was, I was bearish. Let's look at the levels on NVIDIA. Let's check out the levels on NVIDIA so we can take a look. So the levels on NVIDIA was, what was it? It was 485, 484 upside pivots, and 481, 480, were support pivots. So it was the support pivots this was the support pivots, 481, and then there was a 480, these two levels I had, right? So I had these levels, right? You can see the 1 hour chart, you can see those levels. So as soon as they started breaking, I was bearish, and I was on the voice, and that's what I said, bearish, no longs, only short scalps, and the target was 476.40. 475 stays heavy, it met all the targets, and then it was doing a C minus bounce, right? 475 was still your risk if you wanted to bounce it. It kind of worked out. I did not bounce it, but I just traded the short in the morning, so that was a nice little win on the short side. All right, guys, let's look at our next winning play for the day, PDD. So PDD, the plan was bullish to neutral. Okay, so let me show you here. So PDD, the plan was bullish to neutral. 138.20 was the breakout right here. You can see 138.20 was the breakout, and the my ideal support levels was 130. I mean, it did bounce from here. That I was expecting more pullback, but it did swipe back. That, you know, you can see a previous resistance becoming support. So you can see that it did bounce back here, and then it did break out. This level was not that clean because there was only one candle. I usually like to see a bigger, more cleaner level, something like this, right? So you can see, so there was these were the levels, right? So I thought it should pull back to 130, but when it did not pull back to 130 and held this candle, reclaim 512, I was like, this is the bullish bias right here. You can scalp it, very small size, risk is defined right at 133. So you can see your risk is cleanly defined right here at 133. So, and then you only long half size. If you're adding 135s, you have $2 risk. You only, you know your $2 risk. Then you're trying to make $4 if you're risking those $2. And you can see my guidance here. So 140 was my first target, and we hit 139.80. I mean, I was short 12 cents. So that's fine. But the risk was still 135.33. Those were your stop levels, right? It was holding. I wanted to see a next leg up, and it pulled back. I pulled back, held the 512 EMA Clouds, right? If it broke, then I would have taken all the profit out and got out. But I saw this candle dip. I mean, I was still a profit. I was still profitable, right? You can see it's retesting. It's retesting this breakout is retesting, and it held it, and then it pushed back again. Then I'm holding it, still holding it overnight. So we are tomorrow probably we cross over our 140 targets. So my point is, you risk $2, and we made more than $4. So it was basically one risk to two reward trade. So that was PDD, guys. So next one we are going to look on is the CROX. So CROX, my bias was bullish. But really I wanted to add when it breaks 100, right? So that's what I really wanted to see. If you see my daily chart on CROX, this was the breakout out of the 100 that I was trying to do, 100 psychological level. Let's see if we can see, I can show you. So this was the point of a breakout of 100 level. So out of this 100 level, you can see this candle going. So nothing too big, right? And let's see what was my guidance. So I said bullish bias, watch 100 side. It was rejecting 100 for that time, and it was pulling back into the gap. You see, it was rejecting, and then I said if it breaks 100, then you have to watch the pullbacks for that 100 breakout eventually. And it was all day, it was giving us that 100 rejections, still under the clouds. But then it pulled back, almost filled the gap. You can not. I mean, let's see how much gap it filled. So maybe it filled. Let's see how much was the gap. So we opened here. We hit a decent 61 Fibonacci on the gap. Then look at the hammer candle. So that tells you that it's bullish. So you get back right here over the 3450 EMA Clouds, and you risk that low of the day over the 60 or this level, and then you let it ride. And when it breaks 100, this time you add into it. and then once it break 100, it went to $1 move. It pushed for a $1 move into 101.41, right? So wherever you added, right, if you added 100 break, you still traded $1 per share. And if you added the dips here on the EMA clouds, then wow, that's really good risk reward trade. I was essentially looking for a breakout in the morning, but anyways, it panned out. I even shared the idea on Twitter, so it worked out for me. It was more this 100 trade, and then it's a good swing now. You know, it's I'm gonna add it to our swing and swing tracker, so should be good. All right, on to the next one. So let's look at MU idea, right? So MU, the idea today was to short it on the pops. I really wanted a pop to 77 to short it, and then, but anyways, it popped into 76 and it started rejecting. You can look at 2-minute candles, and it's something important you need to learn in the, you can look at the 2-minute candles. So if I look at 2-minute candles, right? This is 3450 cloud. It was reject when it's rejecting, and then your clear risk level is 76, and then it faded back, right? So I wanted to see the breakdown of 7430 right here, right? So you short the pops, it's working 7430, but then really for the trade to work, the 74 had to break, and I could see there's a seller on a buyer on 74. I said bouncing on 74, make sure you cover, assuming you shorted on the pops, let's say 75 something, and it was 74. You made $1 on the short side, but then I saw a buyer, so it's buying here, it's buying here, it's buying here, and it's bouncing. Then I say be cautious. That's when I saw the buyer, and then I was like be cautious, and then it pulled here. I got out. I got whatever chump change I made, and then I got out. But if you held, you got squeezed back up into 75s. So when these levels don't break, you see these clean levels, you need to be cautious on the short side. So that was MU guidance, guys. I'm just gonna call it scratch for transparency, because I know some of you didn't cut when I gave the warnings, but we need to be on top of it. All right, let's go. Next one. So talking about coin, it's nothing, guys. I've been talking about coin for a few days now. It's a bullish, it's a 100 psychological breakout. It's gonna keep running at, as long as the trend holds. You see, that's why I said bullish bias versus 120, 119. 120, 119. Where did it bounce? Right at that level, 120 level. It bounced, and then it got out of yesterday's highs, and it rallied all day. So my target was 130. We came a little close. I still bullish on the daily. If you're swinging it, keep swinging it. I think coin is going to keep going, maybe a little bit more. So yep. All right. So yeah, let me show you, if I can show you my tweet, or my swing on the coin that I shared. So let's see. Let's look at it. Okay. So this was what I shared yesterday. You can see, this was 100 cycle level breakout, swing traders, huge reclaim of bearish to bullish again today, 52-week breakout after 100 breakout last week. So you can clearly see, right, how it keeps going. So that was going, guys. Really proud of this one. All right, let's talk about today's SPY and QQQ guidance. So it was pretty clear, guys. So it's same thing. On what I was sharing on SPY and QQQ this morning. Let's look at it. So let me show you guys 1 second here. So SPY and QQQ. Let me expand it. So you see this range, right? So in the morning there was this range. You can clearly see this range, right? So it was range bound, pre-market highs, lows, but it never broke these lows. And you can see a trend line that I drew here, right? So let me see if I can put you just on 1 hour chart, if I can show you guys. So there was this trend line even on 1 hour. So there was this trend line. That's what I was talking about. That is the range break, and that is the range break for QQQ. let me show you now. I had those price alerts dot for breakout. Look here. So you clearly see QQQ turning over the clouds, SPY turning over the clouds. What I'm saying, right? Where did it turn over the clouds? It turned over the clouds at 4:54:28. So right there, it turned over the clouds. Right here, the alerts came, and then QQQ, the alerts came 10:39. Right here over the clouds. So as soon as SPY and QQQ were over the clouds, and then it boom, you can easy visualization of the breakout. I even showed on the Twitter before and after. So that was pretty easy long, and also there was a lot of flow coming in by our flow experts that helped us long this. So just wanted to show that. So I usually set up these price alerts for my community, so I don't have to type in what I'm seeing, and they can just trade from these price alerts and see what's happening, how the trend is changing, how the key pivots are changing, so that we can utilize it for our nice trade and the game. So this was pretty textbook trade here. Love it. All right, guys, thank you so much. And we are extending our community sale for, I think, 1 or 2 more days. So though, if you're still missing those, please sign up. The link should be up in the descriptions. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.